Did Christ really go to hell briefly when he died? If so, can you explain why? And if not, can you explain why people believe this or say this? The reason people believe this or say this, it comes from a misunderstanding of the Apostles' Creed. Now, the Apostles' Creed is a historic and orthodox confession of faith. And it does say that Jesus descended to hell. But what does that mean, that he descended to hell? I mean, when you and I think of the word hell, we think of a place of torment and of agony, a place of gnashing of teeth and outer darkness and fire and brimstone, and where the worm dies not, and all these descriptions that the Bible gives us, where sinners go to pay for their sins. Is that where Jesus went? Is that what the Apostles' Creed when it says the word hell? No. The word hell is actually an Old English word in that context that is used to describe the place of the dead, or the grave. In the Bible, especially the Old Testament, the word Sheol was used to describe the place of the dead, or the grave. In the New Testament, the word Hades was used to describe that same place, that same Jewish concept. It's not just a place of torment, because in there's also a place for the righteous. There's a place for the righteous to go when they die. We see this clearly in Jesus' parable in Luke chapter 16, where there's a rich man who dies and he goes to Hades, the place of the dead, and there's Lazarus who dies, a poor man, a beggar, and he goes to Abraham's bosom, paradise. It's the place of the dead, it's Sheol. So when the Bible speaks of the grave, it speaks of these two realities, the righteous and the unrighteous. So when Jesus descended, did he go to the grave? Yes. He went to the place of the dead. Now, what is the biblical evidence of that? In Psalm 16, the psalmist writes, "For you will not abandon my soul to Sheol, or let your Holy One see corruption. You make known to me the path of life. In your presence there is fullness of joy. At your right hand are pleasures forevermore." This was of the Messiah, that God would not abandon him in the place of the dead, or let his Holy One see corruption, that his body would not rot in the grave. This is a prophecy of the resurrection, that yes, the Messiah would die and he'd go to the grave, but he would not stay there. And also in 1 Peter chapter 3, he preached to the spirits in prison, those are the demons, and announced to him his victory. And then in Ephesians chapter 4, he leads the captives free. In Ephesians 4:9, when he ascended on high, he led hosts of captives and he gave gifts to men. And saying he ascended, what does it mean? But that he had also descended into the lower regions, the earth. He who descended is the one who also ascended far above all heavens, that he might fill all things. Here Jesus is seen as not only going to the grave, setting the captives free, breaking the bonds of paradise wide open, but also announcing his judgment to the demons. Now, why is it that Jesus could not have suffered in hell, as some people might think? When he died on the cross, he said these words, "It is finished." Some people think that Jesus went to hell for 3 days to pay for our sins. If he had to go to hell, literally, to that place of the unrighteous, then it wasn't really finished on the cross, was it? Yes, it indeed was finished. It indeed was paid in full. In that moment, God the Father was satisfied as he poured his wrath upon his Son, so that he could save his elect and fully pardon them from all their sins. Where did Jesus say he was going when he died that day? He says to the thief on the cross, "Truly, truly, I say to you, today you'll be with me in paradise." God the Father did not let him see corruption. He did not abandon him. Christ arose from the dead and resurrected 3 days later. So did Jesus die and go to hell? No. Did Jesus die and go to the place of the dead? Yes, but thank God he did not stay there. And this has been 5 Good Minutes.